to this lesson, if you could just maybe put him, a message, or just, you know, from, let's say, tuning, if you can tune the guitar, or if you can play C, just if you could just put a message there so I can know, just to get an idea of what level I can talk about. That would be great. Anybody? I'm using a Godan LG XSA. That's what I'm using right now. Emerald Quilo. I figured out, this is Kim Coleman. I figured out how to tune, but don't remember the string names. Well, that's fine. You don't have to remember strings names. These things come over time. It's just same with chords and stuff like that. You don't have to remember chords. At the end of the day, music is sound. If you can make a sound, you're on the on the right path. So if you can tune already, that's great. You don't have to remember strings name today or tomorrow. Like if you're playing a concert, nobody's gonna ask you, what string is that? So that's good that you figured out how to tune. I can Now this is Clement Sylvain. I can tune, play major minor chords, embellished chords. I don't know what that means, but I'm not yet very easy with minor scales. Working on major one currently, an upcoming course, but about modes. I struggle to follow and catch by ear rhythm and your melodies during courses. Okay, well, so I'd say so, Clement. Okay, that's good to know. Chords with more than 3 or 4 notes. Okay, I see. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Um, okay, well, so we've got a lot of different levels here. So, first of all, what's what's that doing here? This is driving me mad. Um, well, you know, I'll just start with Clement there, and well, it sounds like you're a little bit advanced, but you just finding what I'm teaching a bit too fast. So it sounds to me like more you just need to take your time. I struggle to follow and catch by ear. Yeah, I mean, learning by ear is difficult for anybody of any level, you know. Like we're used to it because, like I grew up doing that. Like reading, you didn't really read. The concept of reading wasn't really what was around. So you always learned by ear. Like a lot of these lines that I'm playing here, and I've been playing the lessons. I learned them by ear. Some of them I learned by tapes, and some I learned by somebody playing, and I watch. And so that's I don't think you shouldn't worry about that. Learning by ear is, I find, especially in Europe, it's more challenging. I find people, that's just the way it is. But it sounds to me like you're already in a good level. So I mean, if you can play chords, major, minor, and embellished chords, as you put it, and even modes. So do you know them? Do you play? The modes. Do you do the mode? Oh, you know all the modes like Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian. Do you know all these modes? Because if you know the modes, I'm not. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think you're at a good level, already. If you know this stuff, and we can even just talk about this. I think you're at a good level. What you probably best for you is what's probably best for you is to just slow down the lessons. Go back on the lessons and then just watch them again and learn those lines. Because I think that would happen to anybody. That would happen to anybody. Even myself, there's things that I can learn today. I find it hard now, but I'll go home, sit by myself, and and practice, and I will get them. Yeah, of course. Yeah, always, always. I mean, it's a never-ending, endeavor to really learn things. It's a never-ending. You need to just, don't get discouraged. If you can't do it today. In fact, it never happens that way to anybody. To anybody that I know, it never happens to just people get good. So yeah, if you're finding things hard, go back and learn slowly, you know, and I'm sure you'll get it. But then this end, I saw the uh, Kim Coleman said, I also can't read music. Okay, you can't read. Well, yeah, I mean, again, reading music. But Kim, can you play any song or any chord or like, do you know any song or a C major or a D major or a
No,
chord? You don't. You don't know any song yet.
no. Kaka ng
Okay.
Loto Nangay.
Huh? Okay. So that's good. So that's, you see, I can gauge your level. So you need to start. So you probably need to start with just like a C major. Do you have a guitar at least? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's a good start. That's a good start. So first of all, you need to learn a chord, even just one chord.
Yeah, I took guitar lessons like over 10 years ago, like maybe 2 or 3 classes, and we learned chords, but I'm practically a beginner. Like I've
Okay.
forgotten.
Well, this is the best thing I always teach somebody who never played before. The easiest chord to play is to just take your index finger. Okay. You take the index. You have a guitar there with you.
Yes.
Okay. So if you go on the second fret, and then so you count from the the E, the
Mm-hmm.
string, the top 1, 2, 3, 4. So you go on the fourth string.
Mm-hmm.
You place that index there on the second fret on the fourth string. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And then you take your middle finger and place it on the third string on the second fret, like that. You see that? Can you
Mm-hmm.
get, so just that, and then play all the strings, just and slowly, just like that. You start from the top, so basically you ascend from the lowest notes to the highest. That's a good chord. I always teach somebody who's never played before because it's easy.
Okay.
Just strum that, and then just strum that for a while. You can just so go up and down. Down. So you go down, then back. Just do that for a while. You get that?
So wait, my finger is on the actual fret itself, but it's not making any sound when I run over that.
Oh, we probably just need to fiddle around. Just press it down. You wanna press down the string.
Mm.
Until you get the note. That's exactly what would happen if you haven't played a chord yet. So just fiddle around, until you'll definitely get a note. And this is Clemence. Yes, Mama, and Niwel just figured out how to adjust the best to help us go on to express your needs. Mama, is this a beginner class? Yeah, well, I mean, yes, this is basically. I don't know if you have been in the previous, courses we did in the last three. Basically, we um we decided to come on today to help everybody who are finding it a little bit too hard. People are now in the same level. Maybe they're not understanding what I'm doing, or they're finding it too fast. So this is just Yes, it's really, yeah, from beginners to, to people who, finding it hard. So you can be like, you can see there, Kim Coleman is a beginner. So yeah, from beginner to somewhere um, between, I suppose, intermediate level, I suppose. Um, Jeff Carter said, I've played acoustic steel string for years by ear, but just started with electric and working on getting comfortable with the bare and finding fingers in the frets above the 14th. Yeah, hi there. No scale from piano, but don't quite know which mode fit. Well, that's good. That means, Jeff is already at a level where, because if you know like the scales and, you can talk about modes, that's already a little bit more than a beginner. So, but like playing high here, playing high, like 14 fret, it's again, it's something that, because we're used to this kind of thing, playing high. Congolese guitarists would always play high. Well, not always, but usually. You calling me lang. You wanna end up like, just playing that high. Is very comfortable for me, but because that's you have to be able to do that. I just need to tune this guitar. So it might not be easy at first if you're not used to it. But again, it's just the same with anything. You need to keep doing it. It's 1 second there. It's you just need to keep doing it. If you find it hard today, just stay with it. Anything good never comes straight away. It's stay with it today, tomorrow, and it might take a day, it might take 2 days, and it might take 1 week. It might take, But if you stay with it, and if you're already at a level where you know modes, let's say you're playing a melody up here, which you find hard, just because usually when you're playing high here, you want to be able to probably come out with your hand a little bit more. Can you see there? Just to get in like that. Because when you low here, the fingers tend to be, you see, it comes out. My hand comes out a bit, and I'm playing in this position here. You know. But if I go high there, you see, it comes out. I'm more in. I'm not this way. So that's what maybe you need to experiment with. Instead of when you low here, it's kind of like that. But when you come here, the fingers go in. They're not falling this way. So that's something you can experiment with. You'll even see people really going at it like that. Really
Yeah,
bringing out the hand out this way. You know, Jeff,
that's
can you
very
see that?
helpful. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Just
thank you.
so
Yeah,
when you're low, it's natural to do stuff like this. But when you're high, come out with your hand a little bit more. That would help.
yeah,
And then just feel around. Even you can see the posture of my. I'm changing my posture to reach there. You know. And when I come down, you see. That. I think that should help. For playing high up there, Jeff. Um, I don't know how to choose which mode. This now came out, but Jeff don't know if it helps. But after the 12th fret, I count again the 7th fret instead. Oh, I think that's it. It writes for you, for Jeff. If you can read that message. Um, so yeah, did the Mama Miriama? Did you get? Yeah, yeah. This is. I mean, if you're a beginner, it's also we're here to help. Just help a few ideas. Um, but like for some of the lines, I know some of those lines that I've been teaching. They're This is, my mentor when I met him. When I met my mentor, as I said, I teach two different styles. There's the modern style, which was, modern seven, and I also taught the old style. So I obviously grew up in the modern seven style, so which is more easier stuff, like stuff like stuff like that. But my mentor, when I met him, he said to me, "These are good. It's good. You're playing stuff of your time, of your age. But if you want to become a better guitarist, you need to learn this old style, or this old stuff, because they're more demanding. So it's just like going to the gym. If you go to the gym, let's say you want to get, you know, big muscles and all that. You want to lift heavy. The heavier you lift, the bigger your muscle would get. It's the same. That's an example that he taught me, because he said if you're playing stuff that are just easy, it's you're not really gonna improve, but it's good. I'm playing stuff that are beautiful as well. People can dance. But if you want to be a better guitarist, you need to learn things that are harder, because that will make you work hard. So he started teaching me those lines that are, those old lines that I've been um, playing to you, like stuff like you see, even today, it's like if I don't play those lines, I struggle, because those guys really, they had an art form in playing those stuff. See, it's a little bit more demanding to play. So because I learned all these old styles, so it made me a better guitarist, because there's just a little bit more. So that's really why, that's the option that you have there. Yes, you can play the modern style, which is like, you can see, but it's much more different to like, so you need a little bit more, flexibility for this kind of old style, and there's a lot more happening, in terms of technique of the hand, because you're going from the alternate picking into then I had to get into, we did this, the hybrid picking. Like in the modern style, there's hardly any hybrid picking going on. It's just, you see, but as soon as you go to that old style, so there's a little bit more involved, and that made me into a better musician. So that's my sort of a way I learned that way. So the old style is more to just improve as a guitarist, and but the modern style, is really what I grew up with. I danced to it straight away. If I heard somebody playing, stuff like that. So if I heard somebody play like this, I don't even think about the guitar. I just start dancing. But if I heard somebody playing stuff like a, line, I marvel, like the guitar playing. I'm like, wow, it's what an art form that was. So that's the kind of the angle to just give people this, this view of the music. I also just like to share that so people can see, you know, um, just the artistic approach these guys had on these lines. Although it's very dancing music, it's nothing. Most people who are not from Congo, they just hear this music that's, it's beautiful, happy music, people dancing. But the detail that went into those guitar lines is really incredible. Um, so, so those lines are advanced for anybody. That's what I was trying to say, actually. Those lines are even for anybody at any level, at any style of music. They'll be a little bit trickier. You'll have to spend more time to do them. But this the modern stuff that are not as hard that you can get into. You know. I mean, there's really, really, really simple stuff like a. You can see and you can hear that I'm not having to do very much. I can wake up at any time, just straight away play this. But I can't really wake up at any time and go. I have to look. And so, what advice can you give us to have as an approach? Listening, figuring as we can by ear and doing it again and again and again in practice with modern stuff. You mean with modern stuff? You mean the modern Congolese music in opposite, for example, to all traditional songs inspired for the last album. Okay, there's two questions there. What advice can you give us to have an approach? Well, listening is always the best. Listen a lot of listening. If you want to be good at, let's say, blues music, you listen to a lot of blues music, and then you try to play along with those tracks. And the same with Congolese stuff. If you want to be good at it, listen. There's a playlist that I put up there, and you just listen to them because the best way actually to learn is just by hearing the music over and over again, without even you really sitting there listening to it. Just you're having tea, or I don't know, cooking, or having it just around the house. You put it on there. That's always the best way to, because then you're internalizing it already, and then playing along with it, and just playing along with the tracks. And again, all these lessons that we've done, it's all there for you. You can go back to them, and then with the scores, even if you're finding it hard to learn by ear, the notations are there, and then just play over and over. That's really the trick to. Well, that's what everybody does. Everybody does at any level. You do things over and over until you get them. Then the second question is, with modern stuff, you mean the modern Congolese music in opposite, for example, today? Yeah, I mean, what I said, is more the modern seven. You see, that's a good question actually, because the seven is really a new, let's say, art form that started in the late 60s. Kim Coleman mentioned Dr. Nico. Even Dr. Nico didn't really play seven. He was more of a rumba. So you had stuff like. And one of his famous line is actually this tremolo thing. Uh, I'm sure Kim recognize this line. Okay, I can see thumb up there. Yeah, this is actually one of his Dr. Nico, his famous line that everybody would know is this. This is on the song actually we did this song. I did the rhythm line which goes. Mokolo nakakufa nani yakolelanga.
Okolo na kukupa.
Kim will know this. So Dr.
With
Nico
tabule.
yeah, exactly. That's great.
I'm like a walking jukebox. I can't play it, but it's in my head.
Yeah, okay. Oh, Savage, that's great because that's such a classic. This song, like, we used to. I remember, growing up, because at midday, every day in Congo from 12 to, I think, 12 to like 2 p.m. At least that's what they used to do when I was growing up, going to school. They play this old classic music, because it's the hottest time of the day. So they play all these really old songs. So every day from school, this song would play it, and music is always outside. So we used to associate this song with like starving, because we're coming back from school, had no food, and I used to walk for an hour and a half from school. What, to school and back, so altogether 3 hours, and with no food, going or coming back. So every day you'll be walking, they'll be like, you'll be like, oh my God, this song again. Mokolo nakakufa nani yakolelanga. So that line. So that's rumba, really. They didn't play these kind of lines. The 7 lines that we're talking about is something that happened in the late 60s. So the younger people who grew up listening to people like Dr. Nico, and Franco, they then, which would be Roxy Chimpaka and Beniko Popolipo and,
Zaina.
Exactly. Oh my God. You even know to Zaina. Oh, wow.
With Roxy, right? And
yeah, Roxy's back.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, that's because Roxy learned from the guy who taught him the guitar was like Franco's brother.
Bavo Mari Mari.
Oh, you gotta do a workshop here, and we gotta get Kim to do a workshop on Congolese music here. Definitely. So they
and then he moved to Zyko, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. I hear the same guitar. I was like, oh, I hear that same guitar riff from Tu Zaina to Zyko, like Mami Mani.
Yeah, that's what he did. He just took the stuff he used to play in Tu Zaina, brought it to Zyko, Langa Langa. So that's what we call seven. You see, this was actually to answer Clement's question about the modern. So seven is really started in the late 60s. That sort of those sort of this kind of more, it's got a little bit faster. It's not as classic as Dr. Nico. But then in the late 80s, like 80s, I think probably you can go back to mid 80s, but it really got popular in the late 80s, where it started they started to simplify it, become stuff like, because the guitarists now, they wanted to dance, because if you look at people like Roxy and Pepe Philly, they didn't really dance because the stuff they were playing was really hard. If you're doing, it's difficult to obviously run around the stage, and so they in the late 80s, then they started simplifying the line. So that's what we call modern seven, and that's really what people are doing right now. And it's just getting simpler and simpler to the point where it's like, you see? not as difficult as the original classic style, you know, and so that's what we call modern seven. But the traditional style, the traditional style, old songs you inspired for your last album. Which traditional song did you listen to? I mean, the traditional stuff is equally harder, even more difficult actually than even the seven, you know, because the traditional guitar, you have to realize guitar still is not a Congolese instrument, so it came from somewhere. And what the traditional musicians did, okay, what the traditional musicians did, they just kind of sort of got stuff from a, different instrument like from pianos, likembe we call, and it's known as kalimba here, but in Congo it's likembe, or a lot of different stringed instruments. So they just started playing those things, transposed into the guitar. So, like an example of, sorry, that, an example of it would be like you can even see it's not very guitar sort of melody or even fingering. This will be played in like a ngoni, sorry, zande harp, or mangwetu. So then that, they developed the style, So traditional is actually even a little bit more difficult actually. Yeah. Well, this. Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah, that's in the songs that I recorded. I did use. I went to that approach, trying to just play guitar in the form of like like the harp. Stuff like stuff like that. Stuff like but this will be inspired by obviously I'm growing up in this era, so there's still element of my experience, but this week is inspired by like I really like the mangwetu harp, so it be inspired by that instruments. um, cool. I'm enjoying this. We're enjoying this a lot. Any more questions around? And yeah, the advice would be just be, if you're finding stuff hard, like keen, just keep what we done today. It might look simple, it might just look like nothing, but stay with that. And everybody does this. Everybody does stuff over and over again to improve on them. That's the best way to improve. Just you know. And Clement said, got it, thanks Niwel. Modern 7 sounds more melodic, less loud in the audio spectrum. The former 67. Yeah, exactly. That's true. Yeah, modern stuff is very. Yeah, I mean, even the old style is more melodic, because you have to realize, like, in Congo, things have to still be melodic for people to get it. It has to be simple. If like I play that line, uh, you know, it's hard, but you know, fundamentally the melody is it's still that. It's still a very, easy melody. And that's what people remember, Banda. In fact, that seven, that, this is the most popular seven ever. From a song called Mova by Zaiko. You can see all these twists here. It's, so on. And there's so many changes. It starts with octave, then it goes into sixth, then it picks. But fundamentally, the melody is. So it's still very melodic, but it does. But it's just they do all this kind of different. Whereas in the modern seven is really, you know, stuff like that, So it's nearly like they just take the melody. That's it. They're not really using that. They're not using sort of the full spectrum of the guitar, as much as you can use, But the old guys did use more, the guitar technique involved, and that's the golden era of Congolese music. Is that when people really talk about the beauty of Congolese music, is really from Dr. Nico, up to like the 80s. You don't the 90s. Every time I've seen like documentaries on Congolese music, it stops in the 80s, late 80s. That's it. They don't really mention the 90s. Even in Congo, when people talk about Congolese music, it's that era from the 50s up to the 80s. Not really in the recent years. It's quite interesting. I find that very interesting, because although they were playing such, interesting stuff, and that's the era that people danced to more rather than now. Double stops are used a lot. Oh yes, it's audible. It's teenier. Yeah, exactly. You can see it. It's just smaller. It's smaller. But like I'm torn about this. I'm sure I've said it before. Because it's for me, as I say, I appreciate the old, and as a guitarist, I know if I want to improve, that's what I have to play. But I grew up with this kind of you see. So in a way, if I didn't really meet my mentor, I'll probably just be doing stuff like that. Because most guitarists of my age don't really know all these old lines. So you guys really should take these lines and, because you beat the shit out of all the Congolese guitarists you meet. Because most guys these days don't know this stuff. It's kind of an extinct style. If you'd meet maybe some old guys, but young guys don't know how to play these lines. So you should get at them and learn them, and then whenever you meet a Congolese guy, play it to them. They'll be like, wow. They'll all be blown away because not everybody plays those lines.
Was that Wera song, Izakoya? That song you're playing?
Wow, that's great. So you like Wera song, yeah?
I mean, my sweet spot is the 70s.
Yeah.
Myself. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, that's for most
And
people,
early 80s, late 60s to early 80s.
Yeah, that's as I said, that's the golden era of the music. But like Wera song for me would be like the pinnacle. It's like the height of the modern seven, like he really, when he came out, is like the king of this. He was known because my friends, played in that band. So I know a lot of people who played in this band, and yeah, he was like he would not even allow you to do anything like he'd be like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you playing that? He wouldn't. He'd be like, okay, just they call him Mocha. just mocha. So you want to do something like, yeah, like a, then you'd be like, yeah, that's, just that. Just stay there, don't move, just stay there forever,
Would that be like flum?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's my friend. Yeah, yeah, I know him very
Okay.
well. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I've
yeah,
seen him perform one time for
yeah.
the dancer what is it? Festa
Oh
Foster.
yeah,
Yeah.
Faustin, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, Flam is very good. Yeah, Flam is very good, but he doesn't play with him anymore. He doesn't play with him anymore. Yeah, Flam is very good, but playing with Were and so on, obviously, there's sort of you kind of restricted. You have to only do that modern stuff. So Flam would be more put into that category of like modern guitarist. Um, so he's played on all his albums. Eli, helicopter. Is that
Exactly.
Yeah. But something else I have to point out about the modern seven is it definitely more inclusive of the band, because the guitarist is not doing as much, so it allows the bass player to do a little bit more, and it allows the drummer and the rhythm guitars, and it allows the band is a bit more incorporated, and so it's more about the groove of the ensemble, whereas the old style was very very guitar was like that's it, and the bass didn't really do much, so the bass just accompanying the line. But the modern style, because the guitar is small, but if you listen every all the parts, it's very 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 cohesive, and the groove sits very well, you know so that's something that's really cool with the modern seven. Are we getting all that? Is this helpful from anybody who's been finding a little bit dodgy? It's too fast. How long should we practice a day? Oh, this Emerald Quilo says, how long should we practice a day? Like a minimum minutes or hours? Practicing is really how much attention you give to what you're doing. You can even practice for 10 minutes, but depending on how much attention you know how involved your mind is to what you're doing. So you can practice, you're better off actually say, okay, I only have focus, really maximum focus for 10 minutes or 20 minutes, and then just play that, whatever that you're finding hard. Let's say, you're trying to play, and then just do that for 20 minutes. But make sure your mind is on it, every note. Really be on it, slowly, slow is always the best. Slow is always the best. Like, let's say Kim, like, you put what we just done there, you just put your mind into it, then back, then you go again. It's good if you have a metronome, 1 second there, if just to see, just to give you, an idea, and what's the best way to like maximize on whatever time you have. Well, this is too fast. What's the slowest I could go? So you put the metronome slow. You can wait, then back. But still really focus on it. If you can do that for 10 minutes or 5 minutes, 20 minutes, you know, you would enjoy the practice more, just like that. And then you can speed it up, you know. And then, you know, after time, you can go faster. Listen, you can really hear the sound is changing, you know, it's getting bigger and bigger, you know, because my mind is really on it. Or whatever, slow. You know, just slow down anything you're doing, you know, like if you want to play like, you know, and if you find I can't really do it, it's too fast, slow it down, like slow it down, really slow things down and put your money to it, you know. You know, really, even the space between every note, think about them. Even when you're not playing, that space, like, you know, before I play the note, it's like, you know, all that, you know. And if that's too fast, you go down, like, you know, really, there's no shame in just keep slowing down. You know, and if that's too slow, you, like, you know, go slow motion, even slow. You know, if you could do that, you know, for like 10 minutes, you would improve much faster, much quicker than doing like an hour where you know, yeah, you know, then you go on your phone, you start, or you looking at something on whatever, Instagram or Facebook, or, you know, and then you start thinking about your friend, you know, for just try to find what's the maximum you can really focus on one thing. And you know, it's something that could be improved. Sometimes maybe just 1 minute, because it's not hard, it's not difficult, it's not easy to do. 1 minute, 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. But if that's what practice, that's how you get the most of um of your brain really. But you know how much focus you give into something. So sometimes I would have just 10 minutes, you know, of doing something, then I'll just stay on it, you know. Like if you know, I just do that. Really, you know, really focus on hearing what I'm playing and focusing on how I'm playing it, you know, for just those 10 minutes. You would improve much quicker. And then from then on, you know, as much time as you have. If you can do that for an hour, great. You know, if you can do that for 10 hours, great. But the best way is to how much focus you give into it. You know, that would pay way faster and much better. You know, even just 1 minute of like doing something, you know. Sometimes it could even be just a note, you know. You know, you put on a metronome like that, you know, just a metronome, something, just one note, you know. You can put, and then just play the note. Just let it ring. But the metronome's still going, you play again. if you were finding maybe playing intervals difficult, like 6, just play the 6 and let it ring and notice. You know, there's no shame in doing this. It's actually very good for you, you know. Really let it ring. You can, you know. And then the more you can do this, then you can start to put 2 notes, you know. You know what I mean? Really. That this could be a way to practice like the modes, you know. And then, you know, you can start speeding it up. In the same tempo you go. That's now 3 notes. You know, and then there'll be 4 notes. Then you can loop it. And then, you know, the sky's the limit. And then you start changing, you know, you can go from 1, then 2. You know, you see, if you can do that for 10 minutes where you really, your mind is into it, you would benefit more than doing 1 hour of, you know, you're thinking of this and thinking of something else, thinking about the rent. Always kind of difficult sometimes. But you just find, you know, what's the maximum, what your brain can focus, the maximum your brain can focus at, you know. 1 minute, that's fine. Tomorrow try to do 2 minutes. The next day try to do 4 minutes. It's actually not even good to do a lot of stuff like, you know, you practice this, I'm gonna practice 10 minutes. Then I'm gonna practice another 5 minutes, you know, stuff like, you know, I'm gonna practice another 10 minutes doing, you know, whatever. It's up probably, I don't do that, you know, I don't find that very, very beneficial. I practice like this, where I would take parts of songs that I'm finding hard. If I was learning a new song, I'll just stay on that part of the song that's difficult and then just loop that, slow it down. Emerald said, "I can play." I hope that's helpful. I can play a compliment just by strumming, but I have to learn how to create melody with the chords. Yeah, you can play by strumming. Okay, that's interesting. So you basically you can't pluck like single note. Is that what you're saying? Just strumming. Because you know, if you just strum, let's say you strum like just play a chord. You know, like that's in I play. I put a metronome there. You know, like see, so what's strumming here? You know, strumming like a. You know, and if you want to play the same thing, just pluck the notes. And the best way is to always go, you know, like you know, up and down. That's, you know, whatever chord that you strum when you play, just pluck the notes, you know, and start moving. Instead of, do the same thing by plucking. So just by doing that, whatever chord that you play with your company, just again, you don't want to go, if you do this, you don't want to go at a gig and then just change like that. You want to take 10 minutes or whatever, 1 hour, practice that first and become comfortable, and then you can do that at a gig or somewhere at a recording session or something like that. So that would be my advice there to you, Emerald. If you already strum and accompany, that means you're already at a level. You should be able to pluck single notes. That should be easy for you. Are we all still there? No. Oh, great. People are still there. Any more questions? Is this? Oh. Any more question? I just saw something that maybe I missed. Oh, there's one question. Merci beaucoup, Clément. Did I see something? I don't think I made something there. So are you guys all? One of the reasons I love world music method is we have geniuses. You guys just soak up all this stuff. So that's great. Clément says, j'ai pensé être bloqué sans les modes pour suivre. I will. Yeah, this is the thing. Working hard is not cool. Don't work hard. Work smart. Working hard is not great. You're not gonna enjoy it. Things should be simple. Simple. Don't work too hard and I want to get this. No. Smart is good, and the smart way of working is to slow things down. To really slow things down. Don't do things. It's very counterintuitive. It's very very counter. You think that, oh, I want to do things fast, but no, you want to do things slow, because everything that you're doing on the guitar, don't think of the guitar. It's your body actually applying those movements. Like if I'm playing this, of course the sound is coming from the guitar, but really the movement is that I'm doing this. It's this movement that's making that sound. So if you're doing it slow, that movement, you can see that if you see my hand, it's going this. And then the fingers they're just directing the plectrum, across the kind of like, gliding across the strings. So if you practice it slow, it's better because you're learning that move, because it's about movement. That's what, and no matter what you do, it's all about movement, and it's about mastering those movements, which are the movements of the body. You're applying that on the guitar. So if you do slow, you would learn, the connection between your mind and your hand will be strengthened much faster than, usually when you're doing something fast, you're not doing it really well, and then you start learning bad habits, and then it's very difficult, as you know, to undo bad habits. So the slower you learn, that's the smartest way. When you're sitting at home, hard is not good. We don't do hard stuff in world music method. We do smart stuff.
Cool, nice. I think that seems like we're cool. Just one last question from Greg: what to do if you drop your plectrum during a gig?
That's happened to me so many times. I remember actually one day I was playing a gig, and I was playing with this, jazz saxophone player, and I'm playing a solo. Boom! Then I drop my plectrum there. Jazz guys, the saxophone player, Coltrane vibe. He plays his solo, then he just goes back, stands behind, as if it wasn't part of the gig, you know. So I dropped my plectrum, and my plectrum falls right beside him. I was like, he didn't even pick it up to give it back to me. You know, jazz guy is just like sitting there, going like this. And I always remember that. You know, no, I mean, if you drop a plectrum, you know, like I have the ability to drop a plectrum and keep playing with my fingers, you know, so I can do that. Um, that's what you know. But if you can't do that, find a way. Just you know, go with your fingers instead. You know, that's why it's good to develop both. You know, um, but yeah, if you drop but if you can't, I mean, get your saxophone player to pick it up and give it to you. You know, just make sure he's not a jazz guy, because jazz guys they just go back, they start going like this. It's like, yeah, that's a good question. Funny. But I think,
Cool. All right, cool. Nice one, guys. We'll leave it here for today. So I will upload this recording as well in case any of you guys want to watch it again. So yeah, thanks, Niwel. Cool.
thanks. This was great. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to Kim for all the information. We have to get Kim, man. Get her to do some workshop on Congolese stuff.
Okay. All right, it's on.
Thank you, guys.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Niwel, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks,
See you
Kim.
soon. Thank you.